Hello friends, in this video I am going to discuss one of the important concept in number theory, the theory of congruences. Let us start with definition. Let n be a fixed positive integer, then two integers a and b are said to be congruent modulo n, written as a is congruent to b modulo n if n divides a minus b. And by definition of division, that is provided a minus b is equal to k into n for some integer k. If this condition holds, then we say a and b are congruent modulo n. If n divides the difference a minus b, that is provided a minus b is equal to some integer into n for some integer k. For example, 6 is congruent to 1 modulo 5 as 5 divides 6 minus 1. 6 minus 1 is 5 and 5 is equal to 5 into 1. Okay. Second, 37 is congruent to 1 modulo 6. Now, 6 divides 37 minus 1, that is 36, and 36 is equal to 6 into 6. 1 is an integer, 6 is an integer. Third, minus 15 is congruent to minus 64 modulo 7 as 7 divides minus 15 minus of minus 64. That is, this is 64 minus 15 and this is equal to 49, and 7 divides 49. 49 is equal to 7 into 7. 7 into 7, sorry. Okay, and 7 is an integer. Therefore, minus 15 is congruent to minus 64 modulo 7. This is the definition of congruence. Okay, now when n does not divides a minus b, in that case we say a is incongruent to b modulo n. A is incongruent to b modulo n and written as this, written in this form. For example, if I consider the integers 25 and 12, 25 is incongruent to 12 modulo 7 as 7 does not divide the difference 25 minus 12, that is 13. And clearly we know 7 does not divide 13. That means these two integers 25 and 12 are incongruent modulo 7. 25 is incongruent to 12 modulo 7. Clear? Next we have some trivial results. First is any two integers are congruent modulo 1. Any two integers are congruent modulo 1. Since that is a is congruent to b modulo 1. We know 1 divides every integer, that we know 1 divides every integer. We know this. Therefore, 1 divides a minus b also. Since we can write a minus b as 1 into a minus b, where a minus b is an integer. That means 1 divides a minus b. That means a is congruent to b modulo 1. Okay. Means any two integers are congruent modulo 1. Next we have two integers are congruent modulo 2 when they are both even or both odd. Two integers are congruent modulo 2 when they are both even or odd. Okay. For example, if I consider a and b are both even integers. If in the case 1, if I say a and b are both even integers, in that case I can take a to be 2k1, I can write this, and b is equal to 2k2. Okay, then 2k1 is congruent to 2k2 where k1 and k2 are integers. Then 2k1 is congruent to 2k2 modulo 2 as 2 divides the difference 2k1 minus 2k2, and this is equal to 2 into k1 minus k2. Clearly 2 divides the difference 2k1 minus 2k2. That means a and b are where a and b are even integers. Then we can say a is congruent to b modulo 2 when both are even integers. Same way if a and b are both odd integers. Then in that case I can write a as to be, I can write a in the form 2k1 plus 1 and b to be 2k2 plus 2 where k1 and k2 are integers. Then a minus b will be what? 2k1 plus 1 minus 2k2 minus 1. That is 2 into k1 minus k2. And clearly then also 2 divides 2 into k1 minus k2. That is a minus b, and here also a is congruent to b modulo 2 in case both are even integers or both are odd integers. Okay, that means we have a result: two integers are congruent modulo 2 when they are both even or odd. Clear? Next we come to the theorem. Now we will prove this theorem. For arbitrary integers a and b, a is congruent to b modulo n if and only if a and b leave the same non-negative remainder when divided by n. Okay, means two integers a and b are congruent modulo n if and only if, means both sided. Converse also holds. If and only if a and b leave the same non-negative remainder when divided by n. Okay, now we will prove this result. For this, we need the division algorithm. The statement of division algorithm is: given integers a and b with b positive, there exists unique integers q and r satisfying a is equal to qb plus r, where r lies between 0 and b, 0 less than equal to r less than b. Here the integers q and r are called the quotient and remainder respectively in the division of a by b. This is the division algorithm. Okay, we will use this result in order to prove this theorem. Okay, this is division algorithm. Now we have to prove, let a is congruent to b modulo n. Let this holds. Now our target is to prove a and b leave the same non-negative remainder when divided by n. And then we prove the converse. Okay, first let this result we are going to use here. Okay, now proof starts here. Let a is congruent to b modulo n. Okay, then by definition this implies n divides a minus b by definition, and this will imply a minus b is equal to kn for some integer k. For some integer k. Okay, that is a is equal to b plus kn. I can write in this form. Okay, for some integer k. Okay, clear? Now on dividing b by n, now we will divide b by n. We have to prove a and b leave the same non-negative remainder when divided by n. Now here we will go. We are going to use this division algorithm. Okay. Now on dividing b by n, we have, using this division algorithm, we have b is equal to qn plus r, where 0 less than equal to r less than n, and r is the remainder. R is the remainder. Using division algorithm on dividing b by n, using this result, division algorithm, we have B is equal to Qn plus R, where R is the remainder. Clear? Now, therefore we have, therefore A is equal to B plus Kn, and this will give us Qn plus R plus Kn, that is taking n outside, Q plus K common, N plus R, which indicates that A leaves a remainder, R leaves a remainder, same remainder basically, same remainder R, when divided by n, clear? That means both A and B leave the same remainder on dividing by n. Clear? First part is proved. Now conversely, now we will prove the reverse part. Conversely, let A and B leave the same remainder, say R, when divided by n, that is, we can let A is equal to Q1n plus R and B is equal to Q2n plus R, where R lies between 0 and n. Okay, and R is the remainder, and both A and B leave the same remainder on dividing by n. Clear? Now A minus B is equal to Q1n plus R minus Q2n minus R. This R will get cancelled out, and we are left with Q1 minus Q2 into n. And from this I can say n divides A minus B. Clear? That means A is congruent to B modulo n. That was we have to prove. Clear? That means A is congruent to B modulo n if and only if both A and B leave the same remainder on dividing by n. Clear? For example, if I consider the case minus 56 is congruent to minus 11 modulo n. Okay. One way is that 9 divides minus 56 minus 11, that is minus 56 plus 11, and this is nothing but minus 45, and 9 divides minus 45, we know this. Okay, that means this holds. And second is, we see that both leave the same remainder on dividing by n. Here n is 9 here. Okay, now also minus 56 can be written as minus 7 into 9 plus, this is minus 63 plus 7, minus 56, and minus 11 is can be written as minus 2 into 9 plus 7. This is minus 18 plus 7 is minus 11. Means on dividing by 9, minus 56 and minus 11 leave the same remainder, same 7 on dividing by 9. That is, both minus 56 and minus 11 leave the same remainder. Here 7 leave same remainder, 7 when divided by 9. Okay, when divided by 9 means this 9 divides also the difference, and both minus 56 and minus 11 leave the same remainder. Clear? Now we will prove the second theorem. Now we come to the second theorem. Statement is, let n be greater than 1 be fixed and a, b, c and d be arbitrary integers, then following properties hold. then following properties hold. First is A is congruent to A modulo n. Okay, this we call the reflexive property. Okay, first is A is congruent to A modulo n. Second is if A is congruent to B modulo n, then B is congruent to A modulo n. This is symmetric. Third is if A is congruent to B modulo n and B is congruent to C modulo n, then A is congruent to C modulo n. This is nothing but transitive property. If both these three conditions implies reflexive, symmetric and transitive, implies congruence relation is equivalence relation. Reflexive, symmetric and transitive. Properties 1, 2, 3, A, B and C, these three together will imply the congruence relation is an equivalence relation. Okay. Fourth property is if A is congruent to B modulo n and C is congruent to D modulo n, then A plus C is congruent to B plus D modulo n. We can add and we can multiply also. A into C is congruent to B into D modulo n. And next is if A is congruent to B modulo n, then AC is congruent to BC modulo n and A plus C is congruent to B plus C modulo n. Okay, we can multiply the integer, we can add both side integers also and multiply integer also, both sides. Okay. Now, last is if A is congruent to B modulo n, then A power k is congruent to B power k modulo n for any positive integer k. Here we have positive integer k. Okay, these are the 6 properties we are now going to prove one by one. Clear? Now we will prove the properties. And first 3 properties will imply the equivalence relation of the this congruence relation is equivalence relation. Clear? Now we start proof. First we have to prove A is congruent to A modulo n. Okay. Now here for any integer A, we have A minus 8 which is 0. We can write this as 0 into n for any integer. This implies n divides A minus A and this will imply A is congruent to A modulo n. This is reflexive property. Okay. Clear? Second is let A is congruent to B modulo n. To prove B is congruent to A modulo n. Okay. Now A is congruent to B modulo n implies n divides A minus B and this will imply A minus B is equal to k into n for some integer k. Clear? And this will imply B minus A is equal to minus k into n. I can write in this way. And minus k is again an integer only. And this will imply B is congruent to A modulo n. Clear? This is my symmetric property. Minus k is an integer only. Okay. And this will imply the symmetric property. Next is let A is congruent to B modulo n and B is congruent to C modulo n. Let us assume this. Now we have to prove A is congruent to C modulo n. Okay. Now A congruent to B modulo n implies n divides A minus B and B congruent to C modulo n implies n divides B minus C. Clear? Now this will imply there exist integers. Now this will imply there exist, this is a symbol for there exist integers h and k such that a minus b is equal to h into n and b minus c is equal to k into n. Clear? Now a minus c is equal to a minus b plus b minus c, that is h into n plus k into n, that is h plus k into n, and this will imply n divides a minus c, and this implies a is congruent to c modulo n. Clear? This is transitive property. Okay, now these three properties a, b and c implies congruence relation is an equivalence relation. Okay, from properties a, b and c we get congruence relation is an equivalence relation. Clear? Now we will prove the D part. Now let A is congruent to B modulo n and C is congruent to D modulo n. This implies there exist integers k1 and k2 such that A minus B is equal to k1 into n and C minus D is equal to k2 into n. Clear? Now on adding these two equations we get a plus c minus b plus d is equal to k1 plus k2 into n. Clear? And this will imply n divides a plus c minus b plus d. That is we can say a plus c is congruent to b plus d modulo n. Clear? Now we will prove a into c is congruent to b into d modulo n. Clear? Now we will prove the next part. Now we will prove that to prove AC is congruent to BD modulo n. Now we will prove the next part. Okay. Now we have A is equal to B plus K1 into N and C is equal to D plus K2N. Okay. We have these two. Now multiply these two equations. On multiplying these two equations we get AC is equal to B plus K1N into D plus K2N. This will give us BD plus BK2 plus K1D plus K1 K2 N square, or we can write this as this. Okay. Now this is an integer. Okay. We can write this as, let it be equal to t, some integer. All these are integers. Sum of integers is integers. Therefore, this can be written as BD plus t into n. That means AC minus BD is equal to t into n. This will imply n divides AC minus BD. And this will give us AC is congruent to BD modulo n. Clear? Now we will prove the E part. Let A is congruent to B modulo N. Let this be equation number 1. To prove A plus C is congruent to B plus C modulo N, where C is an integer and AC is congruent to BC modulo N. We will prove these two. Okay, now we know from part A reflexive property that C is congruent to C modulo N. Reflexive property, mark this as equation number 2. Now using 1 and 2, or from 1 and 2, and using part D, this part, using D part, we get from 1 and 2 and using D part, A plus C is congruent to B plus C modulo N and AC is congruent to BC modulo N. Clear? Proved? Now we will prove the F part. Okay. Now F is, now we will prove the F part. Let A is congruent to B modulo N. Now to prove AK is congruent to BK modulo N for any positive integer K. For any positive integer K. Now we will prove the result by using principle of mathematical induction. Okay. We will prove the result. We will prove the result by using mathematical induction. Clear? Means we have to check for K is equal to 1, then assume for P and prove for P plus 1. This is mathematical induction principle. Okay. Now for K is equal to 1, we have A is congruent to B modulo N, which is true. This is given, which is true. Therefore, result holds for K is equal to 1. Now, let us assume the result for, some fixed K. Okay. Now, to prove, we will prove the result for K plus 1. Okay. Now, A is congruent to B modulo N given, and by our assumption AK is congruent to BK modulo N. Now using these two and using the D part, from D part we get A into AK is congruent to B into BK modulo N, that is AK plus 1 is congruent to BK plus 1 modulo N. Okay, clear? Therefore, result holds for K plus 1. Therefore, by mathematical induction, result holds for any positive integer. Any positive integer. Okay? Clear? Now we have a remark. Now we have a remark from the theorem. we saw that if A is congruent to B modulo n, then CA is congruent to CB modulo n. We have proved this result for any integer C. Okay. The converse, however, means CA congruent to CB modulo n does not imply A congruent to B modulo n. That means cancellation law does not hold in congruence. Okay. The converse, however, fails to hold. That is, converse is cancellation property does not hold. For example, consider this congruence. 2 into 4 is congruent to 2 into 1 modulo 6. Here C is 2 here. Okay, C is 2 here. This congruence holds since 6 divides 2 into 4 minus 2 into 1. This is 4 minus 2, that is 6. This holds, but on cancellation, this will give, on cancelling this 2 from both sides, this will give 4 congruence to 1 modulo 6. Is this true? 6 divides 4 minus 1, that is 3. No, since 6 does not divide 4 minus 1, that is 3. Since 3 is not a multiple of 6 for a integer k. Okay, there does not exist any integer k such that 3 is equal to 6 into k. Okay, that means 6 does not divide 3. Clear? That means cancellation law does not hold. Clear? However, cancellation law is possible with certain condition. Okay. However, cancellation is allowed with some condition. Okay. There are certain conditions. If that condition satisfies, then in that condition cancellation property is, or cancellation property holds here. Okay. Now we consider next theorem. Statement is, if CA is congruent to CB modulo n, then A is congruent to B modulo n by D. N by D, where D is GCD of C and N. Okay, this is cancellation. If CA is congruent to CB modulo n, then in that case A is congruent to B modulo n by D, n divided by D, where D is the GCD of C and N. GCD means greatest common divisor. Okay. Now we will prove this result, and for this we need the Euclid's lemma. Okay. Now for proof, let us first write the Euclid lemma. Okay. Euclid's lemma. This will be used in proving this theorem of cancellation property. Clear? This is, if A divides B into C with GCD, greatest common divisor, of A and B is 1, then A divides C. Means if A divides the product of two numbers B into C with the condition that GCD of A and B is 1, means they are relatively prime, then in that case A will divide C. This is Euclid's lemma. Okay. Now, before proving the theorem, let us come to the definition of GCD. What we mean by greatest common divisor. Let A and B be given integers, with at least one of them different from 0. The greatest common divisor of A and B, denoted by GCD AB, is the positive integer D satisfying the following two conditions. Number 1, D divides A and D divides B. First is the GCD, GCD of A and B. First is GCD should divide both the numbers D divides A and D divides B. Second, if C divides A and C divides B, then C is less than or equal to D. Means D is the largest of all the divisors of A and B. First is GCD should divide A and B, and second, GCD is the largest or greatest of all the divisors dividing A and B. Clear? This is the definition of GCD. Now we come to the proof. Okay. This will be used in proving our theorem. Okay. Now proof is, let CA is congruent to CB modulo N. This implies N divides CA minus CB, and this will give us CA minus CB is equal to Kn for some integer k. Okay, for some integer k. This is the definition. Clear? Now also D is GCD of C and N. This will imply D divides C and D divides N. Clear? Now this will imply there exist relatively prime integers. Relatively prime means GCD is 1, R and S, such that C is equal to DR and N is equal to DS. Okay. Now C into A minus B is equal to Kn gives, substituting values of C and N here, dr A minus B is equal to KTS. D will get cancelled out. That means R A minus B is equal to KS. This implies S divides R into A minus B, and GCD of R and S is 1 since R and S are relatively prime. Okay. Therefore, by Euclid's lemma, S divides A minus B. Okay. And this will give us A is congruent to B modulo S. That is, A is congruent to B modulo N by D, where S is N by D. Okay. Clear? Hence proved. Now we come to the corollary to this theorem. Corollary number 1. If CA is congruent to CB modulo N and GCD of C comma N is 1, then A is congruent to B modulo N. Okay. Now we see here GCD of C and N is 1. This follows from above theorem, where follows from above theorem with D is equal to 1. In the theorem, GCD was D and A is congruent to B modulo N by D, and here D is equal to 1. Hence proved. Now second corollary is corollary 2. If CA is congruent to CB modulo P and P does not divide C, where P is a prime number, then A is congruent to B modulo P. Okay. Now here P does not divide C and P is a prime number. This implies GCD of C and P is 1. Since P is prime, only divisor of P is 1 and P does not divide C. That means there is no common divisor. Okay. Here we have, since P is prime, only divisors of P are 1 and P itself, and P does not divide C. That means only common divisor, from here we get only common divisor of P and C is 1 only. Therefore GCD is 1. Now result follows from corollary 1. Okay, now result follows from corollary 1. Clear? Now consider the congruence. 33 is congruent to 15 modulo N. And here is 9. Okay. That is, this can be written as 3 into 11 congruent to 3 into 5 modulo 9. And GCD of 3 and 9 is 3. Therefore, using theorem 3, for cancellation property, we have 11 is congruent to 5 modulo 9 by 3, where 3 is the GCD, and this will give us that is 11 is congruent to 5 modulo 3. This is how we have to apply theorem 3. Clear? Now that's it for this video. If you have any queries or any suggestions, please write to me in comment box. Thank you.